So, welcome everybody. Welcome to tonight's edition of the New England Medical Cannabis Seminar and Support Group. And we welcome our very special guest and a dear friend of mine, Melissa Bouchard, medical cannabis educator and consultant. And she has recently endeavored in nursing school, and she's nearing completion.
Well, no, I'm just nearing completion of getting started is what I'm doing. I'm doing my prerequisites, but I'm
Well, it's
there.
still an enormous achievement, so we're really proud of you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in, and we know how busy your schedule is, so it means a lot that you're here tonight.
My pleasure.
Yes, so yes, we encourage everybody to ask questions after Melissa is done, and I just wanted to say that unfortunately tonight I'm going to have to run. So our usual socializing that happens, we're just going to have to cut it a little short. I have to go pick up the kids. So
Mom duty.
Yes. So take it away, Melissa. Take it away.
Sure.
And thank you.
Thank you for having me. So it's an honor to be here. My name's Melissa Bouchard. I'm a medical cannabis patient, first and foremost a mom, and a consultant educator for the cannabis industry. A little bit of my background and history. I started advocating for medical cannabis law in 2002 in the state of Rhode Island. Started working on different justice reinvestment campaigns, things like decriminalization, reduction of mandatory minimum sentencing, and really kind of getting the framework of this law change off the ground. We've come a long way, but we still have a lot of work to do. Some of my industry experience, in addition to doing some consulting and compliance work, I've worked with a lot of different patients. I did work at a medical cannabis dispensary for over 4 years. So I had a lot of different roles there, anything from a bud tender or the person you would see behind the counter, to director of education and outreach, doing some more of the public speaking and things like that, to some of their purchasing and just different things from behind the scenes as well. So I'm grateful to have a pretty good understanding of the front and back of the house of those operations. I know there's been some frustrations with patients and questions and all of those things. So that's kind of what I'm here for. I'm rooted in the community. I'm here to help you guys figure out, what the medicine is, how it works, how it can best work for you, and kind of how to navigate this program that we've built. It's not a perfect system, but we've certainly come a long way. Personally, in 2004, I was dragged by a drunk driver and lost my ability to walk. So I've had about 7 or 10 surgeries under my belt or whatever it is, and had to learn a lot about the medicine personally, and that's part of why I fought so hard for it. At one point I was prescribed over 20 medications, and I was in my 20s, and I knew what that meant for me, what my life would look like. So I fought really hard to gain my ability to walk back and to treat myself holistically in a way that I thought was best for me, and actually going to treat my symptoms and not just cover them up. So that's what cannabis does, and that's kind of why I promote it so hard. Not only does it help people that I help treat, but it helps me personally. So we've seen it help an array of conditions, right? Well, we hear about things like seizures and cancer, and I want folks to know that while it does help a lot of those conditions, it does also help a lot of our everyday conditions, and cannabis is best for preventative health. So that's kind of the realm that I've dove into. I recently embarked on a weight loss journey and sort of find myself getting dirty with the health tip, and I lost over 130 pounds. I credit some of that to using CBD medicine, and a lot to other herbal therapies and the foods and things that I ingest. Cannabis is a great medicine. I call it miracle medicine, but there's a lot of other things that we need to incorporate into our everyday regimen in order to kind of really feel better. We are truly what we eat as well. So that's a little bit about my journey. My most recent employment is I work for a company called Metro Distributors, and I distribute wholesale CBD products. So I'm working on bringing really quality products to the market that we can be proud of, that folks can get at your everyday convenience store, at your doctor's office, anywhere locally, and we can ship to all 50 states. So we're really working on just getting these quality products into the hand of patients so that as these laws are being built out, it's great that we have the law here in Connecticut and in New England. But there are a lot of states that don't have any laws, so we really want to make sure that patients are being taken care of, and that as we build out these legalization laws, that the patients don't get forgotten about, and that the prices don't go through the roof, and that everyone's not taxed to where that they can't access this medicine when the whole point was to provide access. I don't know if anyone's seen the most recent article about in New York City or New York State, where they may consider start to start taking health insurance for cannabis. So we're really starting to see the trends change. I've done some work out in Washington, D.C. as well, working with the Rohrabacher-Farr Amendment, where we fight. It's an amendment where we fight every year to protect our states' rights, which is basically saying that the states can operate within the law that the citizens have voted for. So we work every year zealously to, very hard to, keep that intact so that we can all operate in our own laws. But I think the tides are changing, and we're going to start to see a break on the federal level as well, where we start to see some more research and things being covered, and things like that happen. But it's really time to not just reschedule the plant, but deschedule the plant, and treat it like the medicine that it is. So that's where I come from.
Yes, perfect. So I know that we had one question come up in regard to dosing, and maybe you could shed a little light on that. So we have a patient here, and we're not going to put her on the spot and on the camera, but
we can say Barbara. We don't need to. Yeah, Barbara's here.
So she's had some joint pains and glaucoma that she's been handling with cannabis most recently. So she's been struggling to find a dose and a product, that works for her. So most recently she was advised by the dispensary to start a product that was 9-to-1 CBD to THC, and it hasn't been as effective for her. Did you have any suggestions for her,
Absolutely.
Melissa?
Yeah, absolutely. And cannabis is a little bit of a trial and error, just like any other medicine, right? Or anything else that we put in our bodies, right? Is it going to work? Is it going to make us feel better? Does coffee make me tired? Is it what's going to work for me? What's not, right? So cannabis is not unlike that. You have to have a little bit of trial and error, but it's not rocket science, okay? It's actual science, and with a little bit of this and a little bit of tweaking, it'll work for you. I just want to back up a second and kind of just explain what some of the cannabinoids are, and then we'll get into the dosing and kind of, I think what will help you is just tweaking one little thing. So the cannabis plant, there's a variety of cannabinoids that are in the plant, but we work with just a couple main ones generally in this dispensary so that the patients know: THC and CBD. THC stands for tetrahydrocannabinol, CBD is cannabidiol. They do a host of different things, and I'll kind of explain what those are. So THC is more of the psychoactive part of the plant, the one that people say will get you high. It has a lot of great benefits to it. It doesn't just, the getting of the high is generally a pleasurable feeling, and it's a reason for that. It's a mood inhibitor, so when folks are experiencing pain and things like that, it can block that pain. It can help you sleep better, it can help you heal better, it can help you feel better, it can stimulate an appetite. There's a whole host of things that it can do. It can even attack and kill cancer cells. So we use a high THC cannabis oil in cancer treatment because we know that causes a process called autophagy, or where it attacks and kills just the bad cells. So unlike chemotherapy, where it'll kill all the cells, this will just kill the bad cancer cells. So there's a lot of different things that THC will do. CBD, on the other hand, is non-psychoactive or won't affect you in the head, but it's more of an anti-inflammatory and anti-spastic and anticonvulsant. It's a neuroprotectant, an antioxidant. It's actually patented by the U.S. government as such and has been for quite a while. So the government knows that it works, and we really need to keep pushing on them, to kind of get our way. But those are two basic things that THC and CBD do for patients. So for someone like Barbara who's coming to us that's experiencing pain or glaucoma, I like to treat a patient like you with what we call whole plant therapy, a combination of both THC and CBD. A 9-to-1 ratio of CBD to THC just means that there's 9 times the amount of CBD than there is THC. So I believe you're treating with about 28% CBD and 3% THC right now. 23 to 3. Okay. So that being said, that 23 to 30 milligram dose is a pretty good general dose for patients who are looking for generalized relief from inflammatory conditions and things like that. But I truly believe that you're going to need to kick it up a notch with the THC to kind of get the true benefits of the pain, of the relaxation, of that mood inhibitor, to kind of get you out of your own way a little bit. You're not going to experience, a lot of folks are afraid that, oh my God, it's going to get me high, I'm going to act all loopy, because they've had so many poor experiences with pharmaceutical medication. But what we find with cannabis is that the side effects are generally pleasurable. Things like, oh, I felt better, I laughed, or I actually could move, or I sat comfortable in a chair for a few hours and I'm not sure why, or I was able to just forget about the pain for a while, right? And these aren't things that we should have to feel guilty about. This is a natural herb, right? And in its natural form, it's actually good for you. So for you, I know you said you don't want to experience that high yet, that you potentially maybe would be willing to see what it's like, but you kind of want to try a little bit of THC first. So there's a way to do that without getting high. And the dispensaries sell it. It's called THCA. So there's a couple of different forms of THC. THCA is THC in its raw form. Okay? And what we do when we want to activate the THC is we just use time and temperature and heat, and we remove a carbon molecule, we activate it, right? And basically what happens is now it's psychoactive. It has a whole bunch of different benefits to it, but you start to feel it in your head. If you don't want to experience that, but you do want the benefits of the THC, you would take THCA. So I would highly suggest to you actually a 1-to-1 ratio of THCA to CBD. So start incorporating an equal amount of THCA into your regimen, and I will venture to guess that you'll see a great difference. Take that during the day and take your CBD at night. So the THC will kind of help you get through your day, help relieve your pain, get you on your own way, and do a whole host of other things too. And then the CBD at night will help relax your body, have those anti-inflammatory effects and those things that you're looking for. In addition to that, with the glaucoma I believe is a condition that it puts pressure on your optic nerve. Am I right?
Yeah, pressure.
And so an anti-inflammatory is naturally going to relieve that pressure. So the CBD is going to be great for that, and the THC will help with the pain. THC and CBD work in conjunction with each other. We have an endocannabinoid system that's in our body, and these cannabinoids sort of fit like a lock and key, right? And a lot of us haven't had a lot of experience with the cannabis, so we're going to only really need a very low dose in order to get the desired effects that we need. So the THC, there's receptors in the body, right? All over our bodies, a lot of them in our brain. The THC works like a lock and key in those receptors, and the CBD actually works to make those receptors more bioavailable, or to make those receptors have better uptake of the cannabinoids. So the CBD doesn't actually fit in that like the THC does, but it actually opens them up, for lack of a better term, and allows the uptake of those other cannabinoids. So what happens is when we start to introduce whole plant therapy, or some THC and some CBD, we start to experience what's called the entourage effect, where kind of like in a time-release pill, where it will be released and you kind of get that relief throughout the day. So you don't need to take it all the time. And once we can titrate your dose or get a level of your dose that's proper for you, we can kind of just like a regular regimen of I take my vitamin at this time of day, or I take an ibuprofen at this time of day. We can and should be able to, with most patients, kind of substitute those NSAIDs and things, anti-inflammatories and things that patients are taking, and supplement that with the cannabis medicine. It just takes a small amount of trial and error. So try that, and then get back with Dr. Pecher and let her know how you're feeling. And I'm always here to, reach out. It doesn't cost you anything. Just reach out and say, hey, what's this? And I'm happy to give you a minute of my time and get you going. Welcome.
Great. That was a wonderful overview.
So the basics,
Well, so now we have patients that are getting more and more educated, and they have questions that are getting very specific. So some people have read that CBDN actually inhibits bone absorption. So people with osteoporosis and osteoporotic fractures and stuff like that, we have some patients that are literally seeking CBDN in their medical cannabis for that purpose.
Yeah. So there's a whole host of, so where we talked about, there's a whole bunch of cannabinoids. 1 second, I'll get right with you. So where we talk about there's a whole host of cannabinoids, and we mainly know THC and CBD, there's CBN, there's CBG, there's CBDA, there's all sorts of different forms of this, all different cannabinoids that do different things. The beauty is, in a lot of the plants and the medicine, you will find trace amounts of the CBNs, of the CBGs. What as the plant world is starting to develop, what we're starting to see is folks, and you'll start to see things kind of in a higher dose, than what comes in just its raw form, because they're going to start to concentrate these things. So you will start to see this industry develop in a way where you'll start to be able to buy these isolated cannabinoids in specific, ratios and things like that, hopefully in vitamin forms and other things here real soon, where you'll see a concentration of a combination of those CBDs, CBNs, CBGs, and maybe a small amount of THC, and you can take it as a daily supplement.
My question to you is, I have been working on this for a long time, and I was informed, or I read someplace, that CBG, which is really the cannabinoid, the CBD that I want, is just the sprout of the plant. So if the grower takes the sprouts away, they're going to lose their whole crop. So I want to grow my own.
Move to Rhode Island.
I like your thought. Yeah, I like your thought process. So I agree and I disagree with that thought process.
Okay.
CBG is like the precursor.
Yeah.
Is actually what it is, right? It's what starts, right?
Yeah.
And then it kind of grows into CBD and some of the other cannabinoids. Yeah. CBG is still found in the plant when it's matured, right? Mm-hmm. Just generally we don't concentrate it or we don't really test for it, right? That's not what they're focusing on. It's a trace amount. Where you'll find your best amounts of those are probably check the roots of these plants and things like that. I think that there's a lot, like when you think of maca root powder and things like that, right? There's a lot of ancient Aztec medicine that's found in grinding up the root. So I think that there's a lot of bang for your buck in the roots of these plants. So if you know anybody that's growing the plants, just grind those up and have them tested. You can get it tested for less than $100. I know folks that are making topicals and things like that from the roots of their plants. They use all of their plants. They use the leaf for juicing, the butt, the stalk for their dogs to chew on, the roots for the topicals. I mean, So we truly can utilize all of the plant.
That's a good idea.
Unfortunately, right now, the industry hasn't come far enough along where we've hybridized or crossbred the plant enough to create strains that are CBN or CBG prominent. Folks, I'm sure, are working on it, and especially in Israel and places like this that are pioneering the CBD industry. But it takes a long time, and I'm talking 10, 15, 20 years to crossbreed these plants to get them to the variety of where they have the potency to which we need them. It's only been the last 10 or 15 years that you start to see CBD even be prominent in the dosages that we need it. So I think we'll see it, but it's not going to be until, we can do some real deal growing in this country. So growing it on your own is the best bet.
Illegally.
I mean...
Rhode Island.
I have to move.
Yeah, you'd have to move and or establish. I'm a renegade, let me just tell you. I'm a stick it to the man kind of girl. And that's just where I've had to come from, right? Back when I had to treat myself, the law was not in my favor. I had to change the law, right? And in that, obviously, I had to grow my own medicine. And I had to go testify in front of the state house and against the state police and everybody that was against this and say, guys, I have to do this, right? I have to grow this medicine. This is what works for me. Please believe me. If I told you Percocet worked, why don't you believe me that Bubba Kush works, right? So there are ways to circumvent that. Right, and if you can't grow in your own state, you can establish residency in another state. You only have to live somewhere part-time in order to abide by their law. So I know a lot of residents that will come to Rhode Island for 6 months. They establish residency here. They go to Florida for 6 months. They establish residency there. It's a dual residency. It's not illegal. They're not any funny business. A lot of folks just follow the weather, right? But they're able to grow their medicine in their Rhode Island home in the months that they're here.
One thing I do want to bring to your attention is that the dispensary in Connecticut now highlights products that have CBN in it because they think that is a sleep inducer.
It is. So you can actually go online. Leafly, leafly.com is a really good resource. You can go online or just Google CBD or cannabinoid chart. And there'll be this really cool chart that comes up. It's a circle, and it gives you all your cannabinoids, and it'll tell you which does what. In addition to that, there are other ones out there that'll teach you about time and temperature. So sometimes you can create those You can create a different reaction in your cannabinoids by applying heat. That's why when we smoke it, right? People don't realize it. Why do you smoke the herb, right? That's the chart, yep. So why do you smoke the herb? Why do you have to put a lighter to it? Why, if I eat it, right, can I get high? No. Can I get the benefits of the raw plant? Absolutely, right? But will I get high from it? No. What do I have to do? I have to activate it, decarboxylize it, add heat to it. Something as easy as putting in my pipe and smoking it, literally. We'll activate it, and then I'll feel it. Do you know what I'm saying? But if I just have it in its raw form, I'm not going to feel it. That's why we vaporize it. Same thing, heat. Edibles, they're cooked before you eat them, right? It's a time and temperature. You decarb that product. I make edible products all the time. I generally will use a concentrated oil. I'll decarb that oil. I'll infuse that into a binder, generally a fat, a butter, or an oil, a coconut oil, anything like that. Infuse it into that, and then incorporate that into my recipe. Let's get into that for a second while we're on the subject. You guys can make your own edibles. It's not as difficult as you would think. I know that there's some trial and error that needs to be found with figuring out what works and what dosage you need to be at, right? But once you find what dosage you're at, you can then purchase concentrate oil from the dispensary and use that to make your own. And then you'll start to get about triple the amount of edibles that you would if you bought it, already made. So an easy way to do that, someone tell me an edible that they like from the dispensary. Does anyone get an edible that they like?
I like the lemon bars.
You like the lemon bar? Okay.
Sugary.
They're sugary.
And they're expensive.
And they're expensive. So a little bit of sugar isn't going to kill you. A lot of sugar will. Anything in moderation, right? If that's what you like, eat it, right? Just don't eat a ton of it. So what you could do is, I forget the name of it.
They break down, there's 3 cookies, so they break down into 9 doses, like.
Yeah. So you can, I don't know I wouldn't suggest like the box one, but the easiest way is just to do something like that and or get your own recipe of lemon bars and find, is there a fat or a binder in that recipe? All you need to do is infuse your cannabis into your base that's in your recipe, your cookies if it calls for butter, your brownies if it calls for oil, anything like that. Just infuse it into that and then bake your recipe just like anything else. You can infuse butter or coconut oil and put that over your vegetables every night for dinner and have infused meals every night for bed. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to you can create a base. That's what I do at home. I create a base and then I use that base to bind into my everyday. You know what I'm saying? So I can keep sticks of butter in my freezer and just pull it out as I need it. So I can make a big batch ahead of time and then just pull it out as I go. Have it prepared and ready, in a base form. And then you can use it like for Thanksgiving, right? Everyone was like, oh, what are you going to medicate? Everything. Because I'm going to medicate the gravy. And I can freeze it. And one thing on that, portion control, portion control, portion control. So when you're making your product, instead of just pouring it into a big pan, pour it into like a muffin tin, right? Or if it's in a liquid form, pour it into like an ice cube tray or something like that. And then you can freeze it in those cubed forms and mark your dosage right on there and kind of start to really kind of be your own mad scientist in a way.
So anyway, where I'm basically coming from, and I've been saying this for probably as long as I've been coming here, is I really appreciate what you've done for yourself. I give you so much credit. But I'm truly at a loss. I know absolutely nothing about this, and there's no doctor I can get help from. I get my dispensary allowance just by seeing Dr. Pecher, but she doesn't carry my insurance, and I don't have anybody else I can talk to. I'm not really good with the internet, and I really feel at a loss. I listen to what you say, and it sounds exciting, and then I go home and that's the end of it. And I feel frustrated. And I don't know.
I've been there.
I know you've been there. Like I said, I truly appreciate that. And in other instances, I've been there too. But at this point with the marijuana.
Start from the basics, right? Get yourself a folder. Take notes. When you come to these seminars, take notes. Ask questions, right?
I don't know what that means, Wayne.
Put the cannabis in your oil.
I can send you recipes. Give me your email. I can teach you how to do it easy. It's not difficult.
Oh, I'm sure
really
it isn't. But like I said,
I think.
Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Absolutely, but I'm gonna call you out.
Okay. You do that.
Because I'm a self-learner, right?
Yes.
And we got to kick our own butt sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
This medicine isn't just gonna fix you. You have to do the work. You have to put yourself in the position to advocate for yourself. Be your own self-taught learner, right? Me, what I did, it's all good and great, whatever, fine. What does it mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had to do that for me, and you have to do that for you, right? You have to want to feel better enough that you seek this information out, seek a circle out, and come to me. I've met you, what, a year now?
A year or so ago, yeah.
What did I tell you back then? Did I give you my phone number?
You probably did.
Did you call me?
No.
You definitely
I-
didn't.
Because I probably,
So
it's
I
in
can't
this
help
book.
you help yourself unless you help yourself, right?
No, I
So
understand
I
that.
am
I truly do.
2,000% on your side. I just want you to, you know what I mean? We have to be honest here, right? If we
Oh, I
want to feel
truly
better,
am.
we have to do the work, right? We can't just put it all in the doctor's hands and the advocate's hands and the industry's
Oh,
hands.
I'm not.
No, I'm just saying.
It's in my hands.
So now, get a folder. That's your first step. You listening?
She's talking to you, Wayne.
Huh? I'm taking notes.
She's going to get a folder, right?
I got something in, I'm writing down.
Do you have a printer at home?
Excuse me?
Do you have a printer at home?
I have a printer,
I'm going to
yes.
send you some links, okay?
Okay,
We'll start communicating a little bit.
okay.
I'll hold your hand some in the beginning, and then I expect that you teach 10 people when I get done. That's the deal. Okay? Okay. So I'll start putting some information in your hand, basic stuff on cannabinoids and things like that. I know the internet can be super overwhelming. It can be. And then you don't know who to trust, or it's too much. But it does take a little bit of like frustration and reading it 10 times, and I'm not really, you know what I mean? Just like when you open up a medicine pamphlet, you go, Jesus. I don't even know what these words are, right? So I have to Google those words. It may cause blah, I have to Google that. You know what I mean? So part of building the community, there's this word unity at the end of it. And we have to kind of unify. We have to like use each other and pool our resources. There's a lot of good people in this network out in Connecticut that I can connect you to. There's nurses, there's people, my friend Lou that I brought. He has a whole website that helps you guys figure out, you know, the strains are like XYZ. He'll tell you what strain that is. He goes behind the scenes and figures it out. So, you know what I mean? There's a whole network out here for you. Tap into it, right? You don't need to be embarrassed that you're hurting or nothing's working or just kind of lay in wait to get the surgery that I know you're waiting for, right? We don't need to wait for empower yourself. The information's here, but I think the best way to do that is just to consolidate it in one form. And if the computer overwhelms you, it does me too. Get yourself a folder, get it in paper form, treat it like your Bible, right? Get a list. When something works, I remember talking to you about this, right? A journal, right? What works, what doesn't work? What time of day did I take it? How was I feeling, right? And it'll help you start to learn, oh, that's right, I forgot it. That's why. It wasn't that thing didn't.
You know,
didn't.
not to make excuses, but I'm in a different place now
No, I know you're
than I was for
know.
the past 3 or 4 years. I won't make excuses for what I've been through, but it really,
no, and
affected me.
There are plenty of reasons why patients deserve, okay, the industry is not built out yet, right? I wish I could say, go to this place, they have this folder for you, it's all built out, it's got every bit of information designed just for your specific condition and the cervical replacement that you're gonna get, and it's gonna teach you about the inflammation. I wish that we had those resources readily available for patients. We're just not there yet.
I know that.
So we do the best with what we have. And part of it is just saying, unfortunately, we're just gonna have to be self-taught learners, self-seek the information, utilize the network that's around you. I can set you up with, peers that are close to you, that are similar to what you're going through, and kind of help you get in a network. There's places in addition to this that you can expand and go to for seminar. You know what I mean? There's information out there. There's conventions that come around. There's ones that are coming up in Connecticut.
Really?
And you can walk around booth to booth to booth to booth to booth and ask about this product, ask about that product. Yeah, and start talking to people and start. I think one of the biggest things for you is going to be, and not that I don't think you're making excuses. I think that you just have to break through that gap of, hey, I deserve to feel better. I deserve this, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to do it. Kind of like me, right? When I was over 300 pounds, I was like, I'm happy, I'm comfortable. I like being a big girl. I'm fine. That scale says, what? Right? Ow, my hip. I'm like 30 something and I can't even, you know what I mean? And it took being at the bottom. And it wasn't just the weight, it put pressure on my body. I had so many surgeries already. My bones were breaking out from underneath me, metal in, metal out. I had to really take a good long look in the mirror and give myself some tough love and just be like, I deserve this. I quit my job at the dispensary to focus on myself. Literally. Said I'm full-time getting better. Literally. right? So I had to stop where I was taking care of too many other people and not taking care of myself. And I had that I had that codependency where if I just take care of you, I don't have to focus on me. And that's what I was doing. And that's what a lot of us do as parents, as doctors, right? We take care of everyone else. And so I'm just want to empower you to stop and take the time. And we talked about the stretching. I asked you up at the thing, what are you doing? What are you doing every day? Take those 20 minutes and stretch. Take another 20 minutes and read, right? You're not going to learn about the medicine overnight, but if you give yourself 20 minutes a day, tell yourself, I want to learn one thing about THC today. I want to learn one thing about sublingual tinctures today. And just spend 20 minutes learning about it. And unfortunately, maybe in 10 years or 15 years when I get done with school, you can come see me and I'll accept your insurance. And,
Hopefully before that, someone will come.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But for now, we'll work with what we have.
I kind of look at this as like a AA meeting, where you have a sponsor or somebody you can just,
It literally is.
And that's what it is.
And that's why
But
I'm
I
candid.
haven't reached out.
And that's why I'm candid in saying, reach your hand out. You know what I'm trying to say? Because that's all I can say. I can offer you what I have, but I can't do it for you. We'll get there. I know it's hard. And I've had all the excuses in the world. Like I said, I was on over 20 pills and I was like, I'm done. I'm cooked. I'm going to go on Social Security. But we have to fight back.
Thank you.
Melissa, I don't want to take everybody's time. THC, I can only tolerate THCA because of balance and stability. I don't want to fall and break anything. But is that high enough THC to address cancer? My good doctor said to put cannabis oil on my scar for skin cancer.
THCA, you don't need to worry about topically. THC is psychoactive when it's ingested or smoked, but there's something really cool about topicals.
Okay.
When you use topicals, they can never break through the blood-brain barrier, ever. So no matter how much of a concentration of cannabis you put on your skin, you'll never get it into your bloodstream. You can never show positive on a test for it. It'll never affect you psychoactively, but it will treat the condition topically.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of it.
Okay.
So for this, you're going to go straight oil
THC.
in a heavy concentration and get rid of that puppy, and it'll
My
work.
good doctor told me to mix it with coconut
oil.
and I did that.
Yep. So that's just a carrier, right? So the cannabis oil can be thick and kind of hard to,
And the syringe.
So you can just use a little bit of organic coconut oil and just use that as your carrier agent. You can even, mix it in the palm and then just, or you can mix it all ahead of time if you like. But I like to dose individually. Yeah, so you could just do a small dollop, mix it, and take pictures. Take pictures.
That's a good idea.
Before you start, every
Just
day,
started tonight. But
every
I can take a
day
picture. Yeah.
for a month. Take a
Okay.
picture.
Okay.
Watch the difference.
Okay. Good to know. And some of the frustration with finding what you need. Everybody's looking for an individualized program. And I was an educator, and I know they have IEPs for students with special needs. And I feel that we're medically special needs patients.
We are.
And we're seeking that individualized program. So you have to be your own advocate, and you just have to do tons and tons of learning and research and trial and error, which is expensive. But finally you get to a point where, okay, something's working and something feels good.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's a really good way to put it, where we are special cases a lot of the time. And I can remember going into the doctor's offices and being like, I just felt broken. Like, I felt like they almost were like, my God, you again? Like, or like, just like, Jesus, how could it be something else? Like, like they would literally make you feel like, my God, like you're just way too young to have all these problems. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I know, can you help? You know what I'm saying? And so it's a lot of time, unfortunately the medical industry will knock you down and not empower you, they just kind of make you feel defeated. They make you just feel like there's nothing I can do for you. And I want you to know that there's a whole ton that cannabis can do for you. It's a whole other world. So just wipe the slate clean with the thoughts and the stuff that goes on, and just, it's a whole new world with cannabis. And just like with our friend behind you, who hopefully you guys can switch numbers and share frustrations, because that's the point of this whole thing. She found relief, but then pulled back a little bit, and then is still questioning, is this going to work for me, right? You had relief with that other dose. So it's trust it. Trust that if it's working, it's not just, maybe I just felt like it worked that day. Trust it like you would if it was a pill your doctor put in a bottle.
You know, I just had an incident tonight. I'm highly allergic to bees, and I have to get injections because I go into anaphylactic shock. So we were having a problem with my nasal spray, and the person behind the desk was telling me what I had just received, which was different than what I had received. And then she started whispering, and I couldn't understand what she was saying. So I said, well, would you please write it down? And what she wrote down was marijuana. She was afraid to say the word because somebody might hear her.
So can we all say it one time? Marijuana. See that? Nobody died. The sky did not fall. Yeah, so you know what's funny? It's a kind of documentary, but watch Reefer Madness, Reefer Madness. You can either get it on like just YouTube, you can like get the full version on there, but it's an old school documentary about like the truth behind cannabis and why it's illegal. It's actually deeply rooted in racism, honestly. That's why cannabis was made illegal. Back in 1930, it's just real quick, but back in 1937, this guy Anslinger was like a reporter, and it was just this big thing, and he basically was saying that marijuana was making white women dance crazy with black men. I'm like, no, it's jazz music. It's really good music, guy. But yeah, so that happened, and they formed the DEA, long story short, and in 1937, they made marijuana illegal. Up until 1937, farmers were incentivized to grow it. You're actually given a tax stamp to grow it in this country. And then just like, woof, the DEA formed. It was a way to lock and Stockholm the people, a way to put money in the prisons, lock everybody up, get the black men out of the white neighborhood. It's just the truth. This is the truth. And that's what happened. And that's why we're still, as advocates, we're still fighting the disproportionate sentencing of blacks to whites, or the disproportionate way that whites are staffed in dispensaries. It's just reality. In Massachusetts, we legalized it. 74% of the people who are hired in the industry are white. Why? While 75% of black men are the ones locked up for it. Go figure that out, right? So it's just, we have a long way to go as advocates, and there's a lot that goes into it. But if you look into why it was made illegal, who's locked up for it now, who's benefiting from it, there's a lot of politics behind cannabis. There's a lot of reason why it's illegal. Big pharma stands a lot of money to lose when this goes legal. You know what I mean? It works. The cancer industry, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. It stands to lose a lot of money. The prison, going to lose a lot of money. Alcohol, tobacco, firearms, they're going to lose a lot of money. And they don't like it. So they lobby heavy against cannabis laws to make it so people like you and me can't get the relief we need. So we have to fight back against that, or grow our own, or do what we have to do in the meantime until we can get this framework built out proper.
Keep buying those lemon bars.
Yes. Treat yourself, girl.
At least I what you call it, didn't mean a wallet.
That's funny. Well, soon I'll teach you how to make them in a way where you can enjoy it in its full form and not feel guilty about it at all, hopefully.
And much less expensive when you do it this way.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned previously, do you use that magic butter machine, or do you do something else?
I personally don't, because I've leveled up a little bit in my cooking connoisseurism. But it's an amazing machine, and if you want to, the Magic Butter 2.
Tommy uses it.
It's amazing. Get the Magic Butter 2 if you haven't invested in one. It is a set it and forget it, pretty much like crock pot style machine that you can make all infused products. So you can make butter, you can make tinctures, oils, anything like that in it. It's got a internal thermostat. It kind of knows when it's done. You just literally like program it. You tell it what you want to make. You can put right online.
I'm going to give this to Donnie. He can also give us a few comments since he uses
Yes,
that.
please do. But it's the Magic Butter machine.
It's called a Magic Butter 2.
And you want the MB2, the
Me
second
too.
version.
I've been
and
using
take
it
away.
for about a year.
Put that close.
And it works really well. I mean, like I said, you can just set it, forget it, add your dry product to it, and your oil. I do it mostly with oil. You can do it with tinctures. You can do it with alcohol if you want to. A little more dangerous. But, okay. Sorry. The most important thing about it is it cleans up easy.
Yeah.
You can keep it clean. So many of these gadgets out there, you get all through using it the first couple of times and they're all gummed up and they don't work right. This thing cleans up nice. It's all stainless steel. Looks like it was made by guys that worked on the submarines.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can get it right online.
Yeah.
That's
right
about
on.
it's come down a bit. It's about $130 now, I think.
It's a magical butter machine, I think it is.
Yeah. Yep. It's about $130. You get them right on Amazon. You get them right online. They work great. You don't need a ton of product to use it, which is another good feature on it. So Barbara, someone like you, if you find relief from the CBD oil, you may want to start making your own tincture. You might want to start making your own capsules. You can buy a capsule machine online. You can buy those capsules cheap and easy, $7 for a big old bag, and just sit there on a Sunday and voila. So, and you can make months worth for a fraction of the cost with that machine.
They are kind of expensive too.
It's $130. And
No, I mean the capsules.
yeah,
taking care of
that's
it.
right, for sure. And especially if you want to start incorporating the THCA,
Yes.
maybe you can find a cheaper alternative for your CBD at least, right? There's a lot of resources out there for that. Or even just buying the CBD bud. If you can get a sale, sometimes they'll do sales at the dispensaries or different places, and they'll, buy into that and then make, 3-month supply of tincture off of that. There are online conversion charts and things that you can use, but it's pretty much just whatever the test result is. Like, let's just, for the lack of a better word, it's not going to be this high, but let's just say it was 30% CBD. That means that there's 300 milligrams of CBD per gram. That's what that means. So you just do the math. You lose a little bit of loss in the conversion. So I always like to round up. But again, a little bit of reading online. How do I make this? The Magic Butter has every instruction in the world how to do it. And it's literally a set it and forget it device that's really helped us pioneer with the industry of people empowering themselves to be able to afford their own product.
Buy it online, get it delivered to your door.
Yeah, and are you putting flour in that?
Yes, you can put
So
flour.
you buy the cheapest form.
Yeah.
You buy the flour and infuses into the
Yeah.
butter.
So you put the bud in the oil, or the butter, or the coconut oil, or the vegetable oil if you want to make your own salad dressing, or your whatever you want to use. Really, I prefer like a tincture, just like a vegetable glycerin. If you want to make a tincture, but you can use a coconut oil. That's probably the best binder. The only patients that I would suggest staying away from coconut oil are people who have digestive issues. It can really make you go to the bathroom. So if you have any issues with that already, butter or oil,
Olive oil.
olive oil or butter. Depends on what you're using it for. It depends on the product or the base that you're trying to make, right? You can make a butter if you're going to make cookies and baked goods, or put it over your vegetables or anything like that. You can do like an olive oil or vegetable oil if you were going to use it like in your brownie recipes, or you can just use a drizzle again over over anything, really. You can make a steak, literally make a steak and put a tab of this butter over it at the end. It's the same thing, right? You don't have to cook it in a recipe and get all fancy. You just need to get it in your body, just to have it made. In order to portion it out, you can buy silicone molds right online. And then, your local craft stores and things like that that make butter sticks. And I like to do the ones that make a half a stick of butter. And I just roll it up in a wax paper and I stick it in my freezer. Defrost in a couple of hours. Works super easy. So there's a whole host. And then you can even create your own smokable vape oil with that. So then you can fill your vape cartridges and not have to pay, $60 for it to leak on you. Yeah, a lot less loss. And I'm finding people like teaming up, people who have gardens, people who, I might have this skill set, this one might have that skill set. And they're getting together just like, wow, we used to get together and, meal prep for the week. You're medicine prepping for the month. Literally. I have a friend who's a patient, and I make her cookies, and she'll come over and I'll make them all ahead of time. And we ball them out and we freeze them. And so when it's time, for her week, that's just her treat. She just likes her cookie at night. That's what it is. And so we'll remove, she'll take 3 of the already portioned out cookie dough, and let it defrost, and she just bakes 3 cookies at a time, but it's always available to her. If she's having a tougher day, she might take a few more out. If you're not sure about your portions, make a batch of cookie dough, use a ice cube tray. However many you have, just divide the math into the milligrams that you put in into how many parts came out, and then that's their dosage. It's pretty simple.
Well, if I have a question on the product, I have the assumption that only fresh leaf could be juiced for a THCA, but did I understand that you could use a dry product to make THCA?
You could, but it would be wasteful. It would be very wasteful, and money, you wouldn't be able to afford it. The reason that we juice the leaf is because it has a lot of benefits in it, in addition to the trace cannabinoids, and because there's really no other use for that part of the plant, right? So be like, oh, what am I gonna do with this? Throw it away,
Yeah.
right? We make a butter out of it, but it's it makes it taste like crap because it's really leafy and there's a lot of chlorophyll in the leaf. You know what I mean? And it turns it green. And it looks terrible in the product that you make, and it's just not the superior product for that thing, but it's great for juicing. You just need a lot of it, just like you would to make carrot juice, right? So you can store it, freeze it, or juice it all at once. Right. The bud, on the other hand, if you wouldn't really get much juice. At that point, it's mature flower, so it's got the oils, the trichomes with the oil in it that you see. That's the crystally shiny stuff that you'd see on a microscope. That's where the medicines contain. The rest is just plant material. Yeah. So at that juncture, you're either going to cook it down, or you're going to extract it. You're going to either rosin press it to get an oil out of it. You're going to put it through an extraction to get it into a concentrate. Do you know what I'm saying? Or you're going to cook it down.
Well, I've been avoiding any heat at all. So the butter machine is a heat
it's
process.
It's gonna convert.
So that's going to bring it up to THC.
That's the beauty of it. It does. It activates it for you.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of that machine. Yeah. So if you don't want THC, you don't want to ever apply any type of heat. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Another question back.
Oh yeah, actually.
But in that, you can just one second. Just eat the raw bud.
Well, what I do is I get a quart or whatever, the jar of organic grape juice, and I juice it with, I don't juice it, I put in the Vitamix with it. So I'm not losing any product, I'm just pulverizing the fresh leaf and trim.
Have you tried, the tea, the little tea things that you put the herb in? Yeah, but it's a metal one, a mesh one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
How you would make tea, make
yes.
your own tea, and they
Yes.
sell those things that you put the herb in.
Oh yes, a little.
You can do
muslin
that,
bag.
and you
Yeah.
can cold brew it the same way.
Oh, never thought of that. Good idea.
Lemonade, anything like that. Yeah.
See, I have a question, and I have a comment and a question to this lady up in the purple. When you were talking about going to different conventions or seminars or something like that, we had the opportunity to go to one up in Rhode Island, and the information that we got from each booth, the professionalism, the depth of their knowledge, the packaging, their passion was so incredible, and you learned so much from them.
So that was the New England Cannabis Convention. It was our 4th annual.
No, it was the Terp Town Throwdown
Terp
up in
Town
Rhode
Throwdown?
Island. Yeah,
So
Rhode Island.
in Lincoln.
Yes,
Yeah, 12 acres.
not secret location.
Yeah, it's not that secret. There's another one on December 2nd if you want to go same spot. Consider yourself invited.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
That was so informative. I was blown away by.
And so that is again, I'm a renegade. I'll say it right on camera. That's the black market alive and well. that's the products that we can produce. That's what we've been doing all along, and that's the industry that we're waiting to bring into the real market.
But actually, at this convention, we had my wife had a very long conversation with somebody about the super concentrated THC.
RS oil?
RS oil.
Yeah.
And I was wondering your thought on that as a primary cancer treatment, and it almost came up to the point that it was one or the other. I mean, you could do the cannabinoid product and the chemo at the same time. However, you wouldn't be able to get the same results. So what you almost have to do is like a leap of faith towards 3 months of the RS oil versus the somewhat proven and still accepted chemotherapy, which you just keep on using until it doesn't work, and then you change it to another medicine. So
Which is generally
I'm wondering which one. I mean, does it have the same efficacy? Would you be doing yourself harm by stopping the chemo and going for this? Unfortunately, there's no great studies. There's word of mouth and testaments of greatness and miracles, but you don't know which way to go.
Yeah, for sure. Whoever told you that's completely wrong, just so you know. It's never one or the other. To me, it's always one or both. Yeah, one meaning cannabis first, and then if you want to do chemo, please take cannabis with the chemo. It's never just chemo or just cannabis, in my recommendation. What I've seen happen is, here's probably what they're telling you and why they're telling you it. Chemo can reduce the efficacy of the cannabis because chemo is flushing your body out constantly. You're just like literally just, it's poisoning your body. It's killing the good cells and the bad cells. In order to kill the cancer, you have to kill the good stuff too. Now, it's necessary, but that's what chemo is, okay? So when that happens, all your other organs are taxed, right? And you can't work as properly, right? So your body goes into this mode where you're just flushing stuff out. You're not absorbing the nutrients from your food as well. Your bladder's lining is coming apart. Your body's not functioning at its optimal form, right? So what happens is they say well, the cannabis, if you use it, you won't get as much efficacy or it'll just flush out with the chemo. That's not true. I've seen so many patients use both and would not have survived without it. And I mean that when I say that. Now, I'm not here to say cannabis saves everyone's life, but I've seen it. I've seen it multiple times. I've seen it kill cancer. I've seen it help people get through the side effects of chemotherapy, right? Chemotherapy, some people can take it and just feel amazing. They're like, I feel better, right? I'm just getting rid of the cancer, or I feel like I'm getting healthier and I'm just bulling through it, right? Other people, it devastates them. And some people, there's a middle range. Some people really need treatment to combat the side effects of the chemotherapy. So sometimes that's where cannabis comes into play and where it'll come into play only. In some patients, we're not even thinking about treating the cancer. We're thinking about getting them to survive the chemotherapy. That's what we're treating them for. So we're treating them to get them to sleep. Because you sleep better, you heal better, you feel better. And that's where you do, your body does its most healing. And to get you to eat, to stimulate your appetite. Those are the two main reasons we're going to use cannabis oil in a lower dose when treating someone that's treating with chemotherapy. I like to say, if you have a tool in your toolbox and you have cancer, use all your tools. Every tool you have, use it. Because time is of the essence with cancer, right? And that's just how I see it. Well, I don't have 3 months to wonder and wait and worry. Yeah, so the cannabis treatment is generally is a gram a day for 90 days, right? Which is a lot of cannabis oil. And so you have to work your way up to that gram a day, which sometimes takes patients 60 days to work up to be able to get through their day and tolerate such a high dose because it's a heavy dose, okay? It's a heavy dose. I can't take I'm an avid cannabis user. I dab. I use concentrates. I could not take a gram a day and function, right? I would sleep. And that's what it wants you to do, right? But some people have to function throughout their life. So long and short, 3 months of sleeping, and you're like, yeah, and not to But those could be the last 3 good months of your life. So you don't want to spend them sleeping, right? Some of us, they want to spend it sleeping at night, but I want to spend it with my family. I want to feel like I'm functioning just like anybody else. I don't want to lose what could be the best days of my life. So I would just suggest both. That's what I would suggest. I would, personally, if I got cancer today, I would take cannabis oil and cannabis oil only until it didn't. I would take cannabis oil first. That would be far too often in the medical world, we find cannabis as a last line of defense, right? They're so afraid it's going to be the gateway to all these other crazy things that they use it as a last line of defense. And I truly, and a lot of people are of, it should be your first line of defense. It should be the first thing we try. It should be the first part of combined therapy that we use to treat these side effects. It should be used in conjunction. It's the main thing that combats all the side effects of some of these things. And there's a place for these medicines. There's a place for some pharmaceuticals. There's a place for chemo. You know, I've seen chemo save lives just as much as I've seen cannabis. You know, but it's a poison. And we have to be honest about that. We have to have a balance. Exactly. And people deserve a choice. And they deserve the knowledge to know what's going to work for what. So for someone, if they're treating with chemo, am I going to suggest the full gram a day for 90 days? Probably not. I want to see a balance. Now we're just talking about you feeling better. How are you feeling? Wait for your PET scans to come back. Why am I going to pump you with a full gram if the cancer is going to be spreading rapidly and now I got to pump you with 2 grams and you can't afford it? Why am I going to do that?
And I'm stage 4. It's already gone to other parts. So it's not like I just found out and I'm going to try that first.
Yeah. No, you need to go hard.
Well,
You need to go hard.
Actually, when you said what the information we got was wrong, it's pretty much exactly what you said, that you could do both, but it's not going to work. He said it's not going to work as well if you just did one, because the chemo would be acting almost against the cannabinoid by the flushing or something you were talking
Well, what
about.
it is it's basically like you're not going to get the full potency, so it's really not worth it for you to waste your money and have somebody sell you like a 90-day supply of this and think that you're going to get the full benefit. But I think that you should use both if you're at, it seems like you're at the state, you're kind of like, I want to do everything I can. It's kind of what I'm sensing from you.
Yeah.
And at this juncture, if you're already at stage 4 and it's spread, not to, you kind of have to draw a line in the sand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I mean, I'm
decide.
feeling pretty good, surprisingly. And
Can I ask you what kind of cancer it is?
I had breast cancer 14 years ago and had chemo and radiation and a mastectomy and more chemo. And I was good for 11 years. And then it came back, and it's the same breast cancer, but under my sternum and in my bones and in my liver.
Ooh.
So, but I'm very active. It does seem to like I had it 2 weeks in a row now, and now I'm supposed to have it tomorrow, and I can't have it because my platelets are too low. So it's seeming like I'm supposed to have it 3 weeks in a row, and I only get 2 weeks, and then I can't do the third because it brings it down so low.
Have you started any cannabis?
Sporadically, not daily. I have oil, I have tinctures, I have vape, I have flour, I have everything.
Mini apple pie.
Lemon bars, so funny.
Jellies.
I'm going home to make lemon
Jelly.
bars. No.
Oh, sorry. So I have it all available to me. It's just that I'm not taking it religiously like I would my blood pressure medication.
Are you ready to?
I could be ready to. I just don't want to be that high. I mean, I have 2 kids living out of 4 with me, and I can't see myself. Like you said, you couldn't take that high dose. I would, like, if it was over there and I sniffed it, would probably be like too high for me.
Yeah, but we can microdose you. So there's something to be said for microdosing. So another little bit of tough love here, because that's the name of the game today. You talk about you have kids at home. You want to be around for them, right?
Yeah. But
Gotta
I don't
do
want to
what
be
you gotta do.
high off my...
You want to be alive or high?
Yeah.
That's honestly,
This
right?
is the choice I was talking about.
And I'm just keeping it
Higher-
real, honey. I keep it real.
Where you're
Alive.
saying you don't want to be high the last 3 months of your life, if that's your last 3 months, but we never know.
Yeah.
So then you microdose yourself.
Your microdose,
That's-
yes.
but then
So
you're
we're going
not
to build
getting
your
the treatment
tolerance up
because
slowly. Yeah, you got to get your tolerance up is what you got to do. We do it slowly. You start with something literally this piece of the tip of a pen. tack it to your gum, right?
Yeah.
Wait a half hour, 45 minutes. See how you feel. You're going to have to do some trial and error. You're going to have to sit around at home and kind of like, okay, I have cancer and I got to figure this out. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you got to kind of write it down and figure it out. And I hate to say that so candidly, but that's what, and I please say this candidly, if I ever get it, be like, Melissa, remember how you used to tough love me? Guess what? Now's your time. Because, yeah, and we've all been there. We've had to tough love ourselves, but not specifically with that condition. So, back to basics. Start with something like the size of the head of a pencil or a pen. Tack it to your gum. Half hour, 45 minutes. Do it again. Half hour, 45 minutes.
Like in a flower,
No, the oil. I want you to go straight to the oil.
RSO?
Yeah.
RSO, where in the world, because that's not at Thames River,
No,
Thames Valley,
They had
right?
it over at Greenleaf.
And where's that?
in Rhode Island.
No, it was this Summit.
That's in Rhode Island.
It's in Rhode Island, so we can't get it.
Yes, you can.
They can.
We take out-of-state cards. in
Oh,
Rhode
you
Island.
do?
Yeah.
Oh, this,
Oh, P.S. Changed the law. Any out-of-state cards are now accepted at all
When did that-
dispensaries in Rhode
Wow.
Island as of 2 months ago. Yeah.
April 1st, I think.
Wow.
April 1st, yeah. So any you can go on the menu, any dispensary. They do sales like crazy. They do $150 ounces of bud all the time at the one right over the border over here.
oh, okay.
There's some really good deals. You can get the RSO there.
What is RSO going for a gram?
50 or $60 generally.
70 a gram, and that's when you're just gonna get your grow tent and your butter and do it yourself.
Yeah. There's
If
three.
you
There's one
put
in Portsmouth.
RSO on the end of a toothpick
There's one in Portsmouth. There's
and
one
put it underneath your
Warwick,
tongue,
and there's one in Providence.
no, you'll be, well, depending,
You can
again,
access their menus right
easy with
online. One is
Start
called
out slow,
Greenleaf,
start out
one
small.
is called Summit.
mine did not even
and
use
one
a
is
whole
called
drop. You
Slater
might just go
Center.
choom, and that'd be enough. Because that thing, it's got a little bit of a, you've seen them?
So
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, I'm talking about the RSO oil that was brought up. Basically, it's a cannabinoid concentrate, THC, and all the other stuff that's involved in the plant. And it's primarily a sativa-based strain, but what it is it's a semi-liquid. You can squeeze it out of a syringe, and they put them in these plastic syringes with no needle on the end. And the way I've had it described to me in using it, and I pick some up and I'm doing it, is you put a little bit on the end of a toothpick. That way you can create the dose size that you want. You know, slightly unscientific, but it's going to get it under your tongue where you're going to leave the toothpick until it dissolves. And you can start out with small doses and work your way up.
So you're talking the concentration would be what, 1,000 milligrams per ml, or?
Well, these, they say a gram and it's
900.
90%.
it's about 990%. You can't concentrate it 100%.
For the container that they give you.
Per gram. Per gram.
No, the liquid would be 1 milliliter.
1 to 3, depending on how they cooked it down,
Yeah.
depending on the
It's-
recipe. I actually would advise against RSO specifically, and use more of a Phoenix Tears. The reason just being, Rick Simpson. That's what Rick Simpson oil. He was the guy who pioneered it and started making this concentrate. But he used a product called naphtha
Yeah.
to cook it down. Yeah, and it's basically a paint thinner. And it shouldn't be used. And yeah, it still worked for people, and it worked, and it got them really high too, probably inhaling butane. But we've changed the game a little bit, and we use a product called Phoenix Tears, and it just uses a more natural process. Phoenix Tears. It's
Yeah,
the same thing.
it's
So if you
another
were
way of
to-
doing an
You
extraction.
can call these dispensaries and ask what they have in stock before you come, and I wouldn't make the trek without doing that. Make sure that their website is up to date, because sometimes that does happen. It'll say it's on the website and it's not, so definitely call. But just ask, just tell them, hey, I'm treating cancer. I'd want to come in and get a concentrate. Is there someone I can come talk to? The beauty of Rhode Island dispensaries that are different, that we worked really hard for, and it was part of why I went into this whole outreach and education thing, and kind of forced my dispensary into letting me write a proposal to even get a position like that, and then let me do this, let me help teach patients and create an environment where folks can come in and learn. So one of the beauties is dispensaries in Rhode Island do take some time and to work with you and educate you. So they can, unlike Massachusetts or unlike Connecticut pharmacist dispensaries and things like that, The bud tenders can sit there and talk with you and educate you and direct you and recommend to you, and sometimes even sample stuff to you. So if you haven't experienced that type of, I would go over the border and see what you can get. You can access any of their menus right online, call them, and
No, I didn't either.
yep, yeah, they do. And so that's generally a good access point for your flour, like if you want to grab like an ounce of flour or something.
Our Connecticut card is good.
It's good in Rhode Island.
But they didn't give us cards this year. They told us, they gave us a paper.
Take it with you. It's just as good.
Right, we're gonna have the card and the paper.
And then, I don't know.
What do you mean you gotta have the card? The
They
paper.
didn't give us a.
The paper is the card.
Well, usually they give us a card with a
Yeah.
picture on it.
Yeah.
You have to have that and the paper.
Yeah, it's the update. They're no longer giving new cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would take your old card
Yeah.
and your new paper.
Yeah.
And the dispensaries will just scan it in. They'll make you a new patient. You'll do a little orientation, blah blah, and you're on your way. The cool thing, at least I know the dispensary in Rhode Island, you can call your order in just like a pharmacy, and just go to the line that has it ready for you. You can pay ahead, just walk in and walk out.
Like here.
Yep. Yeah. So sometimes they don't have that, but I like the experience of being able to work with the bud tenders and smell the medicine and learn about the product. I think that there's some value to that. So take advantage of that. Back to this. So you're in a sticky situation. I feel for you, but you look great, and you say you feel good. So that's half the battle.
Go crazy doing things I used to, I'm kind of allow, but,
Sure.
and if I do, it takes me 3 days to recover from whatever I've done, but.
And that might be some of the chemos that you're dealing with too. But I would at the very least take the cannabis on your weeks off from chemo. You know what I'm saying? Maybe microdose on the, to build your tolerance up. And I'm happy to talk to you about maybe what some of that dosage needs to look like. But it's really individual per patient. I can't give you a specific. It's literally like, how do I feel? And then if I feel okay, like I can tolerate it, in your instance, take more. Other patients where we're treating pain, we're just trying to get up to like, okay, what's treating my pain? And then I stop. For you, we're trying to get up to how much can I tolerate and still take care of the kids. And then take
I mean,
a
the
little bit
kids
more.
are older, I just don't wanna be like.
No, I get it. Yeah,
No.
I get it. But at the same
I mean, they
time,
know that I do
Of
it
course.
and I'm here and everything else, but I just don't wanna be like laughing silly.
I
And
respect that. And
Giddy
I think one thing that you
constantly
can
in
do is
front of 'em.
microdose during the day and dose yourself heavy at night. Knock yourself out at night. And I hate to say it, but just knock yourself out. Get a heavy dose in at night. Let it do its magic. See how it makes you feel. See how the scans come back. You know what I mean? See if you can get that close. And then another suggestion, just lastly, not to spend too much time, I would really start tracking your intake on your food. Watch something called the Gerson method
I
online.
bought carrots, organic carrots.
Purple foods.
Purple.
Beets, purple cabbage, juice these things. There's something in it that kills cancer. I forget the name of it. Do you remember? But purple foods are great. But the Gerson method, it's this really boring documentary, but this woman treats through juicing and nothing else, and it's worked for patients. That and regulating your pH. The cancer patients that I work with at dispensaries swear by this. I was like, man, come on, kind of like what people look at me when I talk about cannabis medicine. But they swear it works. And I'll tell you what, regulating your pH. So they say where your pH is regulated, disease cannot live. It can't live there. So if you regulate your pH by taking things like lemon water in the morning, soaking in a baking soda bath, because your skin's your largest organ on your body. So it's going to soak that up and it's going to regulate. It does something. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but it does something to regulate the pH in your body. And so these are tricks that literally, like when cancer patients have come to me, like literally, like, I hate to say it this way, but their bladders are falling out. They're peeing on the floor in front of me, like, stink. Like, please help me. I know this. Like, I'm literally just urinating on their clothes. Like, I can't hold my fluids anymore. This is how sick I am. I'm dying. And they've come back from it.
Wow.
From doing these things. The Gerson, Gerson method. That's a juicing, and you don't like have to go so crazy, but maybe
No,
take
I have juiced in the past.
yeah, but maybe take a few tips
had
from that
one bad
and
juice
incorporate
and that was it. Stopped.
But do a shot. You know what I mean? Maybe do a couple shots of it. But try to learn about these different things. Maybe you incorporate them into your actual diet. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to feel like you're this test rat. You know what I mean? Now you're a science project. You have to go change up every single thing that you ever did. You know what I'm saying? But reducing some sugars. Cancer feeds on sugar. So cut that out of your diet. No more lemon bars for you. Cut sugar out of your diet. Seriously. Regulate your pH. Lemon waters, things like that. Increase the cannabis as much as you can, and then I'm happy to work with you, give you my information, you know, or get you into that network of those people, yeah, so that you can kind of stay in contact with them on a regular basis without even having to maybe go to those events.
Are you gonna be there on the 2nd?
I'm not. But are you?
I think we just might.
Yeah,
Get
go.
our connection, get the tickets, and go back up.
Go. Yeah. If don't, well, I'll talk to you.
Yeah, good idea.
We'll talk.
When you say pH balance, do I have to go to my doctor to get that, to know where I'm at for a pH balance?
It's not standard medicine.
They won't do it for
It's
you.
the realm of the gray zone. It's the holistic gray zone.
They won't do it for you. So what you can do is go to your pool supply store and test your urine with one of those strips.
Oh.
Seriously. You can test your own pH.
Well, we have pH strips.
Are there
We
strips?
We
Yeah.
would use that from a regular urine thing, but I mean, the technique is in the holistic realms rather than the allopathic medicine realms.
If you're on pH strips with red cabbage.
So basically what she's saying is, standard medicine right now looks at these things like spook science. They look at cannabis like spook science, they look at acupuncture like spook science, and craniosacral therapy like spook science. All these things that you can't get covered by your insurance that really work. Our medical world really has, you know what I mean? A lot of catching up to do, but the reason why it's not approved is because these things work, and once we standardize these things, they're going to lose a lot of money because it's just going to be preventative health. These things are preventative health. They prevent us from getting sick. If people knew that they could regulate their pH and it would reduce the risk of getting sick, if you went into your office and they told you that, people would be regulating their pH if it was a standard thing. You wouldn't wait until something went wrong and got blood work and figured out what pill it was to fix it. Everybody would just be testing, you know what I mean, dieting, testing, right? So you have to kind of, again, empower ourselves, now put the knowledge into the community ourselves and find ways to do it. But you can buy the strips right online or at literally like your pool plate, like literally, and it's pH is pH, no matter what. So your water is going to have a certain pH, your body's going to have a certain pH. It's all pH. You know what I mean? You're either alkaline or acidic or balanced. It's not. And so I don't know what you're supposed to be, if you're supposed to be 7.3, and I know it's within a point. It's within points that matter.
You want to make it more alkaline.
Exactly. Acidity is cancer-ridden. Yeah, you know that. Yeah.
Question.
This time of year, you may have a hard time finding a pool store open. So if you go to a pet store, you'll be able to, in the fish department, you test
water.
your water from a fish tank. You can get a strip like that because all the pool people right now are in Florida.
Yeah, it's probably a lot cheaper that way too. I was just thinking, like, I remember doing it with that little, I used to have this little like capped thing that, you know the one, and I had it forever, so it's always the one I utilize. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, super easy. The pet store probably has it for less than $10. And that's what you would use to test the water that you drink. And you can test, the water that comes out of you the same way.
So how do you know what your normal pH is supposed to be?
Google.com. I have no idea I don't know what it's supposed to be. I just understand the basic concept behind. I should probably regulate mine while I'm at it. I drink lemon water. I do the things that to help regulate it, but I should probably test mine and see where I'm at and see if I need to tweak a few things for sure. We all could stand to do that. So I guess really briefly, I'll talk to you guys about all these cool products that are up here, and then we'll close up real quick. But so this is the new gig that I embarked on, and I just wanted to kind of let you guys know that there are some really good products that are on the market that we'll be bringing to the market that you can get. We sell different products where I work. Hopefully Steph will be selling or getting into a few of these things or offering them to you, but we sell everything from pre-rolled joints, buds, quarters, the whole nine. This is hemp-based bud, but I want to bring it around. You can smell it. The quality is there. The test results are there. Actually, you can scan this and go right to the test results. It's all legal, shipped to 50 states, yada yada. So we're really working on just getting high-quality products into the hands of patients. This is a tincture. So this is actually a 1,500 milliliter bottle of tincture. But literally, just so you can see, all this is coconut oil and cannabis oil. That's it. So you can make your own or buy it already made and dosed out. But literally, companies are making this stuff, and the only ingredients in this are coconut oil and hemp oil. That's it. That's all that's made in it. So you can either buy it or make your own. There's products on the market like this. We're talking about the topical stuff. This is like an intensive cream, and then these are like serum rollers and sprays and things like that, so you can really get into like targeted areas. It's a lot of different variety with just like the CBD stuff. Some cool things that I like to see coming out on the market that I think everybody should get into are like this type of thing, which is a vitamin. It's like a supplement, so it's just like a 30-day supply. So I really like the idea of like one a day, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of like what you're taking, just one a day, and then set it and forget it type of thing. There's a really good product. I'll get to my favorite product here. There's a really good product that's on the market. If you guys ever have the opportunity to try something like this for sleep, I highly suggest it because it'll cut the amount of CBD you need to take like in half. But this is a CBD and melatonin infused product. So it's got, we call them sleep Z's. They're cute. They're gummies shaped like Z's. But it's got 25 milligrams of CBD in it, and then it's infused with melatonin as well. And they work amazing. Like 5 grams. It's a minimal amount, but when infused with the CBD together, they work wonders. I actually have we have retail stores as well, and one of the retail store managers was like, she can only take a half of one, and she was taking like a whole bunch of CBD. So it's just part of that whole train of thought of when we start combining these different products together, we really get a good benefit. And then lastly, I just talked about this one. It's one that I'm super proud of to have on the market and support and be able to put out there. It's a local product. Everything is grown and sourced in Rhode Island, except for the maple syrup we get out of Vermont. But this is called Canna Crunch, and this is Canna Mix. Basically what this is, it's a gluten-free, vegan, paleo-friendly, granola-like, I know sounds like it's terrible, right? I'm just kidding. It's actually really good and really good for you, and I have some samples for you to try. Granola-like product, but it's really healthy for you. It's got 120 milligrams of CBD in it, but the cool thing is it's got spirulina in it. And so this company that we're working with is combining spirulina with CBD products, and spirulina is like a vegetable, a sea vegetable. It's a superfood, and it's known to do a lot of things. It's known to detoxify you. It's known to help treat cancer. It metabolizes you. It's got more antioxidants than blueberries, more beta carotene than carrots. You're a carrot girl. It's just got a lot of iron and calcium and a lot of things that you can get into your body. So one of the things that I'm really trying to do is bridge that gap between when we're talking about sugary foods and stuff like that. And if we're talking about preventative health, this is where we should be.
Is that something you
just take it and eat it. And I'll pass some around. You guys can try it. I think I brought a thing of samples. Yeah, I did. And then this is a really fun product where you can just make smoothies out of this. This is just CBD isolate and the spirulina itself. It's flavored with cinnamon, just seasonally. But you can make an apple smoothie out of it. You can put this in a shot of water. So this is a way to get kind of the benefits, a lot of that stuff if you don't want to juice it into you for one day. It's got 60% of the protein, all the iron, and all that detoxifying stuff that you need in it in one serving. So this is available locally, like in Rhode Island stores, and it's available online. Amazing.net. Potentially these are some of the ones that I really think that would be great along your line to carry because it's a very natural product. And it's really good to try, so I can pass them around, and then I'm going to give a little sample bag out to a couple of people. But I have these little handy-dandy little cups, and you guys can try some. Tell me what you think. Get some health food into your body. And then does anybody have any questions before we wrap it up?
Another question? No?
I'll just pass some of this around.
Actually, I do. When you mentioned the sleep, I don't think I need that.
Oh, we did it.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna answer your question, but I just want to read what the
Oh,
ingredients
yeah.
are. So if anybody's allergic to nuts, tell me now. Okay, so it's sunflower seeds, raisins, spirulina, cashews, pecans, flaxseed, maple syrup, cinnamon, natural maple flavor, coconut oil, and then hemp extract. Everyone's good? Okay. Trust me, I know it looks like, why is it green? Why does it? But trust me, I'm trying to teach you guys to eat your greens because
Okay, I have a double question.
Go ahead.
Okay, one is on the sleepy.
Yeah.
I had a problem with melatonin,
Mm-hmm.
and it wound me up instead of putting me to sleep.
Interesting.
I'm a weirdo. I'm sorry. Would that be worth trying again?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer that when
This was an oil. This was a dough. It was melatonin and something else. It was a liquid that I got at the health food store that came recommended to me.
Yeah.
And like I said, it wound me up instead of putting me to sleep.
Yeah, sometimes it can do that, but sometimes
So I don't
if
know
you use
exactly what it
different
was.
Herbs, you know what I mean? Then you'll really have a good benefit. So you just have to kind of trial and error and see what works.
And I guess the other is Dr. Pecher, really on the oil that you suggested. Is that available through her or through you or the dispensary?
Yeah, let me make it clear. I don't sell any of these products to the general public.
Okay.
You have to have like a resale.
So I would just
license
ask for
and things
CBD
like that.
oil?
I have a question.
All right, who tried it? What do you think?
On those, can I ask you a question on those Z's?
I think it's good. It's right, man. So you can eat this on your salad. You can eat it with yogurt. You can have it on ice cream. You can have it by yourself.
You know, on those Z's?
This is called Canna Crunch. The what? The Z's? Yeah. Those are made by Green Roads. It's good, right, Steph? I love it. So look, you guys all got cannabis in your body and greens in your body today. Imagine that. Lemon bar girl.
I haven't had them in a long time.
Oh, girl,
But I love them.
have to. Huh? No, it's not. It looks like bird food, but it tastes good. And it's good for you. Well, that's what it is. Well, how do you think those Asians like preserve themselves? Those sea vegetables.
That's what I
Good, right?
Oh, thank you.
Very tasty.
It's really good.
Thank you. I'm glad you like
My
that.
taste has changed the way I approach them.
I think you're doing marvelous. You're doing
It's very
marvelous.
It's very
Don't worry, hang in there, we'll work with you. The fact that you're even here.
Listen, are you a patient advocate and you go to the hospital and say, that's a really good thing.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately, because hospitals are federally funded, they don't want to hear about this at all. Yeah. So does anybody have any other questions? Yeah.
As some of these
Oh,
products,
I'm sorry, of course. My friends would kill me if they knew I were plugging dispensaries right now. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm an equal opportunity. Warwick is Summit.
SUMMIT.
Mm-hmm.
And what is Providence?
Slater.
SLATER?
Mm-hmm. That's the one I used to work at.
That's the one we probably.
Nope, it's actually right off the highway, right off Branch Ave, by that Stop and Shop. You know that Stop and Shop over on off Branch?
No, I don't have to live there for long.
Oh,
But I
Branch
know
Ave.
where they are.
Right near the State House.
Huh?
Not far from the State House. Right off the highway, very easy to get to. They're all very easy to get to. So peruse their menus, see what makes the most sense for you, make a day of it. If you go up to the one in Providence and don't stop at Federal Hill, you'd be silly. Yeah. You gotta do it.
Computers and a little bit of knowledge, so working at it. You know, it's funny because I worked at one hospital, and I taught everybody that came in how to do
Yeah. Of course you did. So now you're gonna teach yourself.
But this is so different. I mean, this just changes daily. Frustrating.
It does.
It is.
All right, so we're gonna play a little game.
Okay, what?
Can I-
have one question?
well,
Uh-oh.
are some of these products based on your weight?
Absolutely.
And then
So,
are some of them the same way as like a vitamin? If your body doesn't need it, do you just pee it
Just
out?
don't
Just
absorb it.
Don't,
No.
it doesn't absorb it. Just,
Cannabinoids are not like that. Vitamins, you can only take a certain. So yes, you can overload your receptors with too much cannabis. So you
Yeah.
only want to take as much as you need. So I actually have these forms for you guys. And
so the
I'll
way
pass
that
them
I
out.
would find out what I need is by how I'm feeling.
How you're feeling and by your weight.
Okay, all right, but
Here, let me. This is a little thing that it's about the endocannabinoid system, or what the endocannabinoid system does, and the benefits of it. And then on the back, the last sheet, is a dosing chart. So basically, if you look at that chart, it's basically the top will show, I'll give these out to all you guys, but I'll show, I think I have enough.
One for the camera.
Of course.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, cool, block everything out.
So basically, this is a general dosage guide for CBD or any cannabis really. And basically what this is showing is that there is a variation in how we dose ourselves. So you base it on the condition range, mild to severe, and the size of the person, small to large, right? So basically if the condition range, say we have a medium condition range, and your average person's about 170 pounds or so, right? We're gonna be right in that around 25 milligram dose. But if we go up higher in the severity of condition, and the higher the weight or body mass of the person, the higher the dose you're gonna need. So it's always based on the severity of the condition, the body mass, and also the person's tolerance.
At some point. So Melissa, let me say thank you
Oh, you're very
properly, and
welcome.
thank you to everyone for coming.
Thank you guys for being
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, pleasure, Melissa, really an honor. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Much appreciated. Thank you everybody for coming tonight. Great job. Wonderful.